Hey folks, my name is Juliana and I am with Beach and Grow Farm. We're brand new and just starting out this year, very first year. I've been an avid gardener at my own home, but in this past October, my partner and I decided to buy a farm. And that's led us to really wanting to expand what we grow and how we go about it. And this is actually going to be also the very first year that we plant Lisanthus. I got two kinds from Johnny Seeds. They arrived a little while ago, but I'm a bit late starting them. The kids have been home until this past Monday before school restarted again from the holiday break. But what we're going to be planting today is light apricot and Roseanne Brown Lisanthus. I just bought 50 of each just to kind of get started and see how that works, because I know it's one of the more difficult flowers in terms of time and energy and waiting to see if they turn into anything. I'll be using a Pro Mix potting mix to get them started, and I have that already here, and we're gonna go and put that into a 72 cell plug tray, and we'll see how that goes. So let's get started with that and fill up the tray so we can start to plant. I really like the bottom trays that I've got here for bottom watering. They're really sturdy. I got them last year from Homegrown Small Town, which is a small local nursery to me in Pontiac, Quebec. So I really enjoy supporting local, so if I can do that, I will. Some of the inserts that I'll be reusing this year, though, are from Amazon and Rona and other places where I've collected them over the years, because it's quite an investment to start a farm. I was actually quite shocked just at looking at like a tiller, because we do already have a tractor, but the ground that we are going to be farming on has been used for hay for the last 20 years. And there are no structures or anything on the property. So there's a lot that we have to kind of start with from scratch. So like figuring out what the watering situation is going to be. And thankfully there's a lot of natural water. So we are looking at probably restoring a pond that has been filled in a bit over time. But that's something that's going to take a little bit of time to actually achieve and do, and see how much that's really going to cost us. But like setting up a farm plan, getting a license to do the things, or like a permit, farming license, all have a lot of layers and steps involved. So we're just trying to get all of that kind of laid out in front of us first, so that we can, figure out what's next. One of the things I did do, though, is I have gone and bought probably 100 dahlia tubers in total to start growing some dahlias. I have been growing them in my normal at-home garden for the last couple of years, but not to any kind of big extent. And I just want to see how the soil responds, what kind of tuber production we end up actually getting out of the ground, how prolific, what kind of treatments we might have to do to the soil. So we are going to do some soil sampling to understand what nutrients are missing and or really in abundance in the soil we have. And we're going to go from there. So I didn't actually sterilize and preset enough soil, so I'm going to be right back with some more of that. I think it's funny, some of the things that we forget, like how much soil it takes to fill out a 72 plug tray when it's the first time we've done it in a year. But I'm really excited to see where this really takes us and how we can grow and do that. Like some of the things will be really much the focus of basic stuff, like going back and trying to do some things with chickens. My husband will probably continue to cut some of the hay that's currently been done in a lease. I guess it's a lease between farmers, so that the ground was actually being dealt with and the hay was being cut and it wasn't just being left there. So there's a big opportunity for us to kind of experiment and see where things go, and what's going to really work for us. But my biggest dream for that whole property, because we've bought just about 50 acres, is really to turn it into a flower farm. And so as much as there's lots of other little bits and things that we could be doing, this is where I really want to invest our time and energy. And I think it will lend itself to us finding a little bit more balance in life, because I work in the tech sector and previously I've worked in government, and I'm looking for a different kind of pace and things that give me some more rejuvenation, that bring joy and light to my life. And so this is really where I want to start. And like when I look back and think about all the work I have been doing in previous years in life and like raising 3 kids, life's kind of gotten away from us, especially during the pandemic when I was really working an intense amount of hours. And it's not to say I won't work an intense amount of hours at a flower farm, but the intensity was in a way that was really unhealthy. And it led me to experience some deep burnout. And I've been really trying to come back from that. And then finally starting to feel healthy and excited again. And the kids are really like, I guess, able to see it. They're very intuitive that, hey, mommy has got a lot more energy. Mommy is, able to do more with us. And it wasn't ever for like maybe a lack of interest or anything. It was just life was hard and I wasn't doing something that was filling my cup back up in the way that I wanted it or needed it to, I should say. And so now I am feeling this abundance and this level of gratitude for the life opportunities that we have where we are and what we're doing. And I couldn't wish it away for anything. So I'm excited for what the next year brings. Plant number 1 is going to be our Lisanthus that we're doing today. I know I'm a week or so late, but I'm not too worried about that. And I'm going to get these under some lights and get them growing in the grow room before we can move things out to the greenhouse, because it's still really winter here, right? It's currently snowing 20 to 40 centimeters over the next 24 hours. But then I'm going to have a boatload of other things to get started. And I mostly only have 72 cell tray plugs for this year. So I'm going to have to see how that goes and what I'm going to need going into the next year. But I want to start small. I want to start manageable. Originally, I looked at my partner and said, oh, we have so much acreage, we could just go big. And I was thinking about it and I'm like, I always go big. And maybe I need to go slower. And so we're going to start with 1/4 to 1/2 acre. We're just going to plant things in 50-foot rows to give us a chance to like climatize to what the needs are, what the conditions of the soil are going to be, how much work it's going to be. Because our first year isn't really going to focus on things like selling. It's figuring out the conditions and the environment. It's figuring out the behaviors of the plant growth on our land. And really gearing ourselves up towards that. It's not to say we won't sell anything. It's not to say that we won't attend maybe markets or do pop-up shops or do some sort of bouquet sale, because we probably will, but it'll probably be towards the latter end of the summer. Maybe we'll have a bouquet bar and have people come to the property, or have like a inaugural snip and clip or something like that. But I haven't really decided that yet. Right now, I just want to focus on the basics. Do we have the rights to do that? What do we have for soil? What are we going to grow? What are we going to try and experiment with? Because experimentation is fun, right? Like working in a technical space of innovation, I needed an outlet for creativity. How do I want to plant these things? Having a really deep understanding of things like color theory, I hope will be helpful, because I can just envision this beautiful landscape of an array of color and different heights and varieties and textures and shapes and movement. And I'm so excited for it. So I'm just going to clean up my hands and then we're going to get these things planted. One of the things you might end up hearing me talk quite a bit about on this channel will be about managing energy levels and understanding that energy is only somewhat renewable and that time is finite. Deliverables or deadlines, or when things come and go, like your first frost date or your last frost date, are going to be there, and they're going to be hard and fix things that you can't change. And there's also only 24 hours in the day, and we need some of those to sleep and some of those to spend time with family and do our day-to-day things. So there's a big opportunity to see what that means and how that impacts our life, and what does it mean to be psychologically safe in the environment that you're in and what you're doing and the conditions. And so I'm kind of really hoping that what we do next enables a little bit more safety in that regard, a little bit more openness, and just like these little seeds, there's a quote I read the other day that said, "Seeds fear neither light nor dark. They use both to grow." And so in the times of darkness or in the times of light, maybe we want to reflect on what brings good, what makes us happy, where is joy, what puts good into the world. And having worked in a space around disability, accessibility, equity, things like that, there is a lot of hard in this world. There's a lot of pain in this world. There's a lot of sadness. And if I can create something that's beautiful and give anybody back a little bit of that joy, I want to do that. I want to have the opportunity, and I'm privileged to be in a position to have the opportunity to do so. So I'm just dropping these lovely little Lisanthus, and I'm realizing I only wanted to put one seed per hole. So I'm just going back. I should have gotten tweezers to do this, realizing how small the little pellets are. Because I want to just really check what the germination is going to be like for these. And I know I didn't buy a boatload, but so far so good. Mostly it's because I got a little bit of soil on my fingers that I suddenly wasn't able to drop a single. But these are things that I'm going to learn over time, what's going to be the best tool, what's going to be the best method for me, not necessarily what's the best method for everyone else who's, you know, been doing this or might do this, and like seeing where that goes. And I'm kind of happy to see that, because one thing I have learned is we have to find confidence in ourselves, find a willingness in ourselves to persevere, to push onward, to try new things, to be hopeful about where that brings us. And knowing that not everything is going to be this perfect experience. And like just now, you saw me, I realized it's only 72 cells and I had 50 seeds. I did end up dropping a few that were doubled into their seed plug. And that's partly because it's okay to be wrong. It's okay to try things. It's okay to make a mistake. It's okay to learn. The key thing really is, are we learning something? Are we doing something different? So this will be the second set. This is the apricot. I'm gonna get these out of this lovely little tube. The little vial is actually really interesting given the size of the seeds. Kind of wish they did the same thing for snapdragons, because snapdragons are notoriously difficult for me to drop into these little plug trays and not horrifically overseed. But one of the things I'm curious about is, in my climate, how Lisanthus will grow, what will be the rate of germination, how well will the blooms do, how many will I actually get to come up? Because so many people I see say that this doesn't work. They're really difficult to grow. And ironically, that gave me the challenge of, this is where I want to start. I want to start with the hard things, because if I can do the hard things okay, it will give me more confidence for the other things that I'm going to be trying. And this year is about the small pieces. It's not about scale. It's not about rapidly doing it. It's not about making the most amount of money. It's really, what are the conditions? What are the things I need to set up to make this be a viable thing, so that I can continually have joy, that I can go through a practice of continuous discovery from my garden and sharing that with others around me. So I'm just going to cover these up a little bit with a little sprinkling. I don't have vermiculite, and I couldn't find it when I was out earlier this week. So I am going to see if it is something we can get, but in Canada I haven't really seen it very much. And that's okay. I don't think we need to have all the same things for all the same environmental pieces, but I do know that these lovely guys need a little bit of light in order to germinate, and I don't want to cover them up too much, but I don't want to leave them fully exposed. And since I don't have a light layer, I'm just putting a little bit of dry soil to make sure that they're gonna have enough to cover them. Anyway, that's where we're at, and I'm going to try to make videos maybe every couple of weeks. I don't want to pressure myself into, you know, this being the thing. I just want to share the story as we go, share that journey and the experiences that we're kind of going through. So hopefully you'll hear from me again soon in the future, and thanks for spending a few minutes of your day with me, and I really wish you the best of the day. Thanks so much. Bye, folks.